Good morning, everybody. Happy Lunar Chinese New Year. I wish you all a very happy year ahead and successful and also healthy year. All right, as we agree that today there will be the celebration for the New Year party, so there's no class. And since next week, I'm gonna have a meeting at the uni that I have to attend. So I will have our lecture recorded and share with you instead. And at the end of the recorded lecture, there will also be the assignment for you, which will be due on the 11th of February. So let's have a look at what we have today. Just to recap what you have studied already, we talk about the 6 types of startup, where we focus on the lifestyle startup to start experiencing, I would say, and crafting your own business through the different tools. And we will also focus on the social aspect where your business can contribute to the overall society as well. This is the sample of the lifestyle startup that we used to look at, the $1 Million website, the Granny's Finest, where you can also contribute to the elders' living and well-being, the lifestyle that you want to have as the base to design your own business, for example. Then we went into the Lean Canvas, which is a very famous tool, I would say, in the startup world. It is the quick focus for you to have the whole overview and to be able to share your thought in the pitching, in the sharing, and allowing the others to understand about the business idea that you have, and to be clear with the direction and the value that you can offer to the user. So based from my request for the assignment last week, you are supposed to present today the problems and customer segments, existing alternative and solutions. So today I would like to share with you the video explainer on the unique value proposition, the key metrics, the unfair advantage, the channels, early adopters, and also covering the cost structure and the revenue streams. There are 2 videos today. The first one is to give the overview of the Lean Canvas itself, where the second one is the sample of the vegan restaurant startup, which is a smaller scale, which I think it could relate to us even easier because it is coming from the ground up. Whereas earlier we study Airbnb, which is a bigger scale startup already itself. At the same time, I have Uber in the video presentation itself as another example to help you understand deeper with the sample and the Lean Canvas. This is from Airbnb Bread and Breakfast that we already went through last week. So this is the, let's say, the extract of Airbnb in the Lean Canvas form. I also attached a few more examples at the end for you for further self-study and for being the guideline for your own Lean Canvas startup scratching. So this is the Airbnb business model map of how all the transactions, the payments, and the fees going around in the flow among all the stakeholders or the partners of Airbnb itself. Okay, to start with, as I mentioned, I would like to invite you to explore the 2 videos together here. The first one is explaining the overall about the Lean Canvas itself and use Uber as the example for you to go through and have a look and study in how they structure their business. And then the second video following will be the vegan restaurant startup, and it would take you through how they start identifying the problem, how they come up with the solutions, who are their targeted customer segment, for example. So
today we'll have a look at the Lean Canvas, a tool designed by Ash Maurya to help startups analyze the strengths and weaknesses of their business model. And also we will practice using Lean Canvas on the Uber example. To work out your business activities, you need a business plan. A good business plan requires a massive amount of work. But how can you verify your idea before investing so much time and effort? Lean Canvas can help you with that. You need a Lean Canvas if you want to create a product that will be in demand in the fast-changing market. This tool allows startup founders to mitigate the risk and uncertainty associated with the product inception. The Lean Canvas is a one-page document consisting of 9 boxes to be filled in. It originates from Alex Osterwalder's business model canvas. Initially, the last one was designed for well-established businesses and not really applicable to startups. That's where Lean Canvas comes in. Its key difference from the business model canvas is its problem-solution-oriented approach and focus on the customer. To address this, the 4 business model canvas boxes, namely key partners, key activities, key resources, and customer relationships, were replaced with problem, solution, key metrics, and unfair advantage respectively. That helps founders focus their products on resolving their customers' problems instead of specific features of the product. In practice, it doesn't take a huge amount of time to fill in the Lean Canvas. We recommend you to stick to the following order, but it's not obligatory, and you're free to choose the way you feel comfortable with. Let's do this together through the example of the world-known peer-to-peer ride-sharing app, Uber, back when it was getting off the ground. We should start by defining the target customer. Many startup founders suffer from a common misconception called "everybody needs my product." Narrow down the customer segment as accurately as possible. You'll be able to expand it later on if you blossom out. Uber offers its service to passengers and drivers. The passenger segment can be split narrower by demographics, type of usage, and socioeconomic characteristics. Drivers also divide into users who opt for Uber as a full-time job solution and those who leverage it in addition to their main job. It's best to mark each segment in different colors your convenience. In the early adopters section, you can specify the actual people who will be the first to use the raw product and provide feedback. These may include first customers, developers, friends, and even you, the startup founder. In the problem box, we refer to customer problems that your product is meant to solve. If you have several customer segments with different problems, you may make separate canvases for each of them. Here, we have specified problems for passengers and drivers separately. Therefore, we've got such problems as expensive taxi service, availability of cabs, long waiting time during the rush hours, advanced booking is often required, and lack of driver profile for passengers. Drivers need extra income, a part-time job opportunity, and awareness of who they are going to drive. In the existing alternatives section, you should place your closest competitors that are already solving the specified problems. We split the Uber existing alternatives according to different user segments. So passengers can opt for public transport, a taxi service, or ride with a friend. And drivers are limited to taxi service and other full or part-time jobs to get income. The product you are going to create must bring revenue. Usually, entrepreneurs use the cost-based approach, where you need to calculate costs and add a margin. However, we recommend you to rely on the average value required for the customer to solve the problem. For example, Uber takes around 25% of the pay for each ride. All problems you specified in the neighboring box should be matched by the relevant solutions. Explain what experience the customers are meant to have. Uber offers a cheaper ride opportunity, wide car network, fast pickup, route tracking, as well as drivers and passengers' ratings to solve the mentioned problems. Cooperation with your target customers will allow you to learn their needs and offer the most suitable solution. It's no accident that the Unique Value Proposition box takes the central part of the Lean Canvas. The Unique Value Proposition is a brief message which is meant to attract customers' attention. You need to describe the uniqueness of your product and show its key difference from the existing alternatives. Uber attracts customers not only with its speed and low price, but also a package of services in one app, which allows you to find a safe ride 24/7, 365. Drivers, in turn, opt for Uber as they can work on their own schedule, manage their revenue, navigate the route through the app, and forget about taxi license issues. In the lower part of the unique value proposition box, there is a place for creating a high-level concept, a short and easy-to-understand statement about your product. It's a kind of elevator pitch you will use when addressing your product. As an example, Uber is like a taxi, but cheaper, safer, and more flexible. Even the most groundbreaking product on the market can fail if the customers are not aware of it. Specify communication channels to reach out to your target audience. In our canvas, Uber relies on PR, word of mouth, and user referrals. Define key tracking metrics to measure the progress of your business. Initially, you can do with one key metric like minimum success criteria, meaning the outcome that can be deemed a success. Later on, you can expand your lean canvas with other vital metrics. As for Uber, they factor in the number of users and rides, money earned, and referred users. The fixed and variable costs find their place in the cost structure box. These may include costs for the office rent, hardware, recruitment, market research, etc. It's enough to narrow your time window to a particular milestone like a product release or achieving the first 100 customers. Once your cost structure box is filled in, you can balance it with revenue streams and get answers to such questions as how many customers do I need to pay off the investments, where is the break-even point, and others related to the winning outcome. In our example, let's focus on costs for product development, infrastructure and support, as well as the marketing expenses and salaries. The last step in the lean canvas is your unfair advantage. This term denotes a special thing about your idea that your competitors are not able to copy or obtain in any possible way. Unfair advantage may include a good reputation, exclusive access to some data, personal authority, community, or any other unique advantage. It's not necessary to seek out your competitive advantage right now. You can fill in this box later when some other things have started to go in your favor. When Uber was founded, its unfair advantage was the experience the application offered: low-priced rides at the push of the button. That's it. Remember that your lean canvas can and needs to be changed once you get new feedback from your customers. While you're in a startup mode, you're still testing various hypotheses. Some get confirmed, some don't. But make sure you adjust your lean canvas according to the facts and not how you wished things were. This was the introduction to the lean canvas model from Railsware. If you're interested,
I think you have the clear overview about what lean canvas is, and also Uber as the example, how they extract the whole business and its elements of each box of the lean canvas itself. Then up next in the next video, I would like to share with you the scratch of the small scale business, which is the vegan restaurant startup. So let's have a look and check out together.
In the previous video, we met Joe. He's a vegan, so he doesn't eat meat, milk products, or anything that comes from animals. He also works at Pasila, and he has noticed that the only way for a vegan to have lunch in that area is to prepare his own lunchbox, which usually is a drag. So he had an idea. What if there was a lunch restaurant serving vegan food in Pasila? Is there demand? Would people come? Can he make money? Let's take a look what his idea would look like as a lean canvas. What we have here is a blank lean canvas. Let's start by giving this idea a name: vegan restaurant in Pasila. Next, we can go ahead and specify who the customers would be. Vegans naturally, but they also would probably need to live or work in Pasila. And to further narrow down the first customer spec, it's easiest for Joe to first figure out if other people like him share his problem. This is a good idea, since keeping the first customer definition narrow dramatically helps the next steps, and you can always broaden the audience once there's traction. So maybe 25, 35 years old and with reasonably high income. Done. Next up, the problem. Joe already knows that there are no restaurants in Pasila serving vegan food, and at least for himself, it's really annoying to prepare your own lunch every day. What could be the ingredients of the solution? Joe thinks that his customers would appreciate good quality food, and also the restaurant would obviously have to be nearby the Pasila office complexes. And also the service should be quick, since usually people have tight schedules during the workdays. A unique value proposition should boil down how you're different from everybody else and what you're worth paying attention to. In this case, it's quite easy to be the best when you're the only one. And for the unfair advantage, Joe's brother happens to be a chef and a vegan himself. Plus, he's also interested in opening his own restaurant. Making vegan food taste exquisite is no simple task, so it's definitely hard to copy. Channels. How can Joe reach the 25 to 35-year-old vegans who work in Pasila? Outdoor ads near workplaces, obviously. Where else are vegans using their time? Vegaanifoorumi for one, Facebook groups. Facebook even lets you target advertisements by age, interest, location, and so on. Joe also thinks that word of mouth has a crucial role in this customer segment. As metrics, it's good to have numbers that are actionable and react quickly. Joe chooses metrics that tell him if his solution box is working. For example, number of returning customers really tell him if people are finding value in his solution. Other metrics that he chooses are quality of food and average turnaround time. At this stage, costs and revenue are best to be left really rough, since all of this is just best guesses. One good tactic is to estimate the customer acquisition cost and the lifetime value per one customer. So how much would it cost to get one customer through the door, and how much would they be bringing money in over their entire customership? Joe's estimate is that it would take 19 euros on average to get one customer, and one customer would visit 30 times on average and pay 12 euros for each lunch. That adds up as 19x as the LTV CAC multiplier, which is in a good territory. It's good to highlight that all of this is just an educated best guess at this stage. To validate whether the canvas has anything to do with reality, Joe will make a series of MVP tests to turn those yellow traffic lights either green or red. In the next video, we will take a look at those MVPs and record our learnings using innovation accounting.
Okay, so in this short video presentation, we saw together how they started the Lean Canvas from the beginning by identifying the problem which you are supposed to present in our class today, but it will be included in your final video presentation to be submitted next week. So what I would like you to work on this week and to be ready to submit on the 11th is to complete the Lean Canvas of your business and to present it in the video format and then submit both the complete canvas and the video presentation to me online on next Friday. The interesting point here that I would like you to dive further in our presentation today is the unique value proposition. What I would like you to think and to use the advantage of being the customer yourself already in all the lifetime. In our life, we have bought so many things. But if you think of one brand or one shop, it can be the design brand, it can be the noodles shop, it can be the restaurant that you like and you go back there again and again and buy it repeatedly. What are the reasons behind? What are the reasons behind? What are the value that you enjoy, that you keep going back and buying from them? What are the values? So please spend some time here. You can pause my video, reflect, think about the place or the shop or the brand that you love and you keep buying from them again and again. Why do you buy from them? List that down, maybe 5 reasons or 3 reasons or many more if you have. Can it be like the price? Can it be the taste? Can it be the quality? So we spend some time here quietly for you to think back about your favorite shop and restaurant and brand. Why do you love to go back and buy from them? What are the reasons behind? Okay, please write that down. Okay. When you are ready, you can come back to this recorded lecture. Today, I would like to take you to explore on the values of the business or the benefits that you can offer to your targeted customer or your segment. And I would like to introduce to you the pyramid of value and hierarchy of needs based on Abraham Maslow and the research, which was reviewed in the Harvard Business Review. And I hope you will be able to identify the clear customer segment and early adopters, and to touch on the unfair advantage, and to proceed with the Sprint Lab 2, and to assign you the Lab 3 to complete for the assignment next week. If you are ready, here we go. So today we will focus on the very important part of building the business, which is the value. The clear reason behind the purchase, the clear reason behind why the people have to buy from you, why they have to buy from you, where there are many existing alternatives out there already. If you want to sell or offer the cosmetic, there are hundreds of cosmetics out there. But why do they have to buy from your business? If you want to sell hamburger, there are a lot of hamburger brands out there. Why do you have to buy from you? What is special? What value can you have? So today we're gonna get acquainted with the kinds of values that are available out there in the marketing system. And then we will have a look at the unfair advantage. What are some strengths that you have, specialties that you have, that the others business maybe do not have? So looking back at the vegan restaurant that we just have a look at the video, you can see that it talks about the brother of the founder who's a chef, and he's also a vegan himself. So that give the insight, the share pain point, and also the special expertise in cooking and offering the special food, especially the chef is the vegan himself. So he shares the taste, he shares the feeling, he shares what the user needs, right? So that would be the unfair advantage of that vegan restaurant. So how about your business? What are some unfair advantage you might possess already? For example, you would like to sell the cosmetic and you are the designer. You know the color, you know how to mix and match the color, you have the taste, you know how to draw, you know how to paint. Can this be integrated in your business and you can offer special thing, for example, a special makeup class, which could be the advantage for the user who buy from you. So it's not only the product, but it's also other experiences, other knowledge, or other how-to that you can add through the expertise, through the experiences that you have. In our design college, there are students who study fashion design, and they actually own the Instagram or TikTok. They are famous and they have the followers already. So that means they have the unfair advantage in reaching out the targeted customer. They have the fan club already. So they have the people who would be able to buy and connect with you as the founder of this new business right away. This could be the unfair advantage that you might possess already. Okay, so please have a look inside. What could be something that you might possess and special and different that could be offered to your targeted segment already? Okay. The early adopter, as explained earlier, are the first, I would say, who will be the first customer of your business? Who will be the first customer of your business? And that should be the celebrating point. As soon as you get the first customer, it's always easier to continue and move on and expand. Okay, so start with one. That's how they say, okay. And the channels already explained how can you marketing and promote your business to get the people to know of your existence. Okay, so from here we will move on to the unique value proposition and the solutions that you can offer. If you look back at the list that I asked you to stop the video and think of the brand that you love and the reasons behind why you keep going back to buy that brand. This could be one of the diagrams that are being offered in all the business schools. All the business students will get to know this. It perhaps could be the price that is maybe lower, or maybe it is the location or the platform. For example, you might buy from certain shop because it's available through the delivery service. The food just come to the door of your house, and that's why you enjoy buying from this place, even though there could be another shop maybe better, but they don't offer the transportation service. That could be the reason behind. So these are the 4 classic diagrams of the marketing mix, which consists of price, place, product, and promotion. And what value can you offer further? What we also found here, the diagram was initiated in 1960. But what we have been discussed is that how about the brand, like a very famous brand, for example, MS? Or how about the insurance? What about the feeling that we have about certain brand, the loyalty that we have towards a certain brand? How can that fit in all of this perfectly? Or even if, for example, if we buy from the company like Tom's Shoes, which is the social impact enterprise, when you buy one pair of shoes, Tom will give one pair of shoes to the children in need in Africa. And he has become the $1 million business already. How does that fit into this marketing mix? Okay. So it comes to this place where Maslow hierarchy exists. It talks about the needs of the people, even though it is presented in the pyramid form. In fact, the needs do not rise in this axis. They can exist on the flat mode and all together at the same time as well. It's possible. So for example, if you need like physiological need, you need food, you need water, at the same time, you need love as well. So it's not that if you don't have food, then you don't need love. The truth is you need food and you need love at the same time, for example. So according to Maslow hierarchy, the needs of the people exist in physiological, the body needs, water, shelter, safety, the house, for example, belongingness and love, self-esteem, the pride, the accomplishment, and also the self-actualization, where you achieve the potential, the capacity, the possibilities that you can grow, that you can succeed in yourself. Okay. However, what has been found is that even though the 4 P's marketing mix and the hierarchy of needs of Maslow has been offered in all the business school, right? Still, there's the survey and found that they're not really being used and tangible in terms of the strategy planning for the marketing itself. So there's the company called Bain, did the research with over 50 leading brands and over 10,000 customers survey, open-ended, to find the reasons behind the brand growth, and the revenue growth. Why do people buy from different brands? And from that research outcome, they could identify the pattern of the values that the company offer to the users or the customers. And it can be broken down to these 4 main types, which also resonate with the Maslow hierarchy of needs, even though it's not in the pyramid in terms of existence. As I said earlier, they can happen on the flat mode and parallelly manner as well. So let's have a look at these 30 values pyramid that the brand or the business could offer to the customers. Down here we have the functional. So the products can offer the most basic needs in terms of the function, covering these values. For example, we use Woof. Woof offers the values where we are connected, of course. At the same time, it also gives us the safe time, right? The safe time. I guess also Woof meeting that we have, it also gives us the wellness value, which is emotional in this aspect, because we are safe from the fact that we don't have to risk with the COVID-19. So in that sense, it's kind of like providing the therapeutic value as well. Okay. Okay, so for Woof, as an example, Woof meeting, it gives us the functional value, it saves time, it reduces risk, you don't have to travel, you don't have to risk with COVID-19, it connects us. So that's 3 values in terms of the function itself. I can say that it reduces cost as well, because you don't have to travel and you can avoid hassles. That's 5 values plus therapeutic and wellness at the emotional level, for example. Okay. How about some very, very famous brand, like I said earlier, like Louis Vuitton or Hermes? Why can it be sold at a very expensive price and people are still buying that? Which value do they give? If we talk about the bag, for example, if the function is for the usage only, right? For the usage. it will be here at the functional level. So you can buy any bags, but that's why do we have to spend so much money buying Louis Vuitton? What other values that it offered to us? I would say that it goes up the ladder here. It goes up the pyramid here. By buying that brand name, it perhaps even give you the therapeutic value, attractiveness, right? It maybe give you the feeling of being rewarded, something that make you happy. Or it can give you the status, the social status, the place where you belong to, that you are in that group of people who use the Louis Vuitton. So you have the affiliation. You feel that you belong to that group. And that gives you the life-changing experience. The life-changing experience. It provides the emotion. So it goes up the ladder here. And when it goes to the life-changing or emotional, the price seems to relate less, because the feeling, it cannot be equal to money. It's invaluable as long as you feel that it responds to what you're looking for. And if you have money, or even in some cases, some people don't even have money, they're still willing to collect the money, save the money to get that social status, to feel that they belong to that group of people that they want to connect with. We have done the activity with the other design students in our college. And I asked the same questions. What is your favorite brand? Why do you like to buy that again and again? And one of our students said he likes Coca-Cola, Coke. And it is because he used to look at the advertisement with the designer who likes to drink Coke, and because he wants to be like that designer. And so that's the reason why he only drinks Coca-Cola. So that it's something that is in this bracket. That reason provides hope, provides motivation, belonging, and self-actualization. It makes him feel like he's going to be like that person. That's how he connects to the brand or to the value of that product that he's buying himself. The social impact or self-transcendence. It is when you buy something and at the same time you buy for the good cause. You buy from certain company, for example, there's the company that used all the good to the environment product. It doesn't cause any pollution. It doesn't cause any damage to the air, to the trees, to the water. And you buy because of that reasons. That's when you buy because of the social impact that you care for. And it gives you the feeling that you do something not only for yourself, but also for the others. Okay, so these are some of the examples of the values that the product could offer. And the more values that you could offer, it means the more loyalty, the more lovable the products will be, the more chance of the people will come back and buy from you. And of course, it means the growth of the business and the transactions as well. So here I have the videos talking by the founder and the researcher behind this 30 values of pyramid, explaining and giving the in-depth information about this. The first one will be a short video introduction of the 30 values of the pyramid. And the second one, it's quite long, it's like 59 minutes. So what I will do is I'll just pick the important part for you, and then the rest you can check out yourself. So I'll have it stop at around minute 17, and then I'll take you skipping to the 23rd minute of the video itself. And just for your information, the video comes from the Harvard Business Review webinar. So this is a very universal, widely acknowledged and usage in the real business world that we could adopt and use in our unique value proposition in our Lean Canvas as well. So if you are ready,
when consumers evaluate a product or service, they are typically weighing the perceived value of that product or service versus the asking price. Managers are actually much more comfortable with the price side of that equation than they are with the value side of that equation. And the reason is that value is psychological, amorphous, and complex. To help, we have actually identified 30 elements of value which are at work in the marketplace today. These elements range from functional to emotional to life-changing elements, all the way up to elements of value that deliver social impact that might be important to consumers. Some of those elements of value are more inwardly facing. For example, it might save people time, it might reduce their anxiety, might give them hope. Some are more outwardly facing, having to do with how consumers navigate the outside world. It might connect them to other people, it might give them a sense of belonging, and so forth. All of this traces back in its original form to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But unlike the hierarchy of needs, we've made this much more business specific. There's much more business content. We've invested heavily in researching this topic. We've done over 10,000 interviews on 50 plus companies here in the US, looking at how consumers view those companies on the elements. And a couple of patterns are emerging. One is more elements are better. If you can deliver more elements of value, you will have higher growth and higher advocacy as measured through NPS. And secondly, we're seeing that digital players are doing better than their brick and mortar counterparts because they are delivering more elements of value, particularly the functional ones. Amazon is crushing 8 of the elements of value, almost all of which are functional, for example. We see companies using this in a couple ways. First of all, they're trying to close gaps with competitors. There are elements of value where they may not be doing that well, and they want to close those gaps to competitors. But even more importantly, they're trying to develop new elements of value to deliver through either their existing products and services or, even better, through new products and services with multiple elements of value.
right. So that's the person behind the research that initiate and derive the 30 values of pyramid. And then going up next, I will take you to this website of Harvard Business Review.
Welcome to today's Harvard Business Review webinar, The Elements of Value, Measuring What Consumers Really Want. I'm Gardner Morse. I'm a senior editor at HBR, and I want to thank all of you for joining us today. When customers evaluate a product or service, they weigh its perceived value against the price. For marketers, it's fairly easy to analyze how consumers think about the price side of the equation. Understanding what they truly value is much more complex. I'm pleased to have Bain & Company's Eric Almquist here with me today to talk about this challenge and some powerful solutions. Eric is a partner with Bain's Customer Strategy and Marketing Practice and the Global Head of Consumer Insights. Through decades of research and work with companies, he and his colleagues have identified 30 elements of value, fundamental attributes of a product or service that meet 4 different types of needs: functional, emotional, life-changing, and social impact. As Eric will describe, combining these elements in the right way can create new value for customers, increase customer loyalty, and drive revenue growth. Thanks so much for joining us today, Eric.
Thank you, Gardner. I'm just going to proceed right to the first slide here.
strategy, this is one of my favorite quotes. Strategy is based on a differentiated customer value proposition. Satisfying customers is the source of sustainable value creation. That's from an article by Robert Kaplan and David Norton. They developed the concept of the balanced scorecard, which many companies use today, and probably many of you on the webinar have heard of them. But when I read that, I ask, well, what exactly is a value proposition, and what are the ways to satisfy customers? What do they actually value? Our research, and I'll take you through this today, shows that there's a relatively small set of ways to satisfy customers, and we call these the elements of value. The elements of value are basically what in various combinations, usually in various combinations, create a compelling value proposition, and that's what actually allows products and services to rise above commodity status. The hypothesis here is that value is not monolithic, but is actually built from elements, often several elements. When you spend time talking to customers about things they've bought, whether it's a product or a service, and what they value, they don't talk about value in a general way. If you spend some time with them, they actually get pretty specific. So, for example, if someone's talking about an espresso machine, which they've just purchased, they might say, it's such a great machine, the design is beautiful, it saves me time, it's simple, and the coffee lets me fantasize about being back in Italy. So you see that, and they may not say it in that order, but there's something about beauty, there's something about time saving, simple. I think you all can understand the idea here. For Netflix, there's a perception of variety, it's inexpensive, quality entertainment. For Tom's, which is a shoe company, it's, not only do they make high quality and trendy shoes, but they give back by helping others. For those of you who don't know Tom's, it is a company that gives away a pair of shoes to the needy every time you buy a pair, and it's very popular with millennials. We've done thousands and thousands of interviews of this kind. We do a lot of consumer research at Bain on all sorts of topics. And it's really those interviews and thinking about this, reviewing decades of work that has helped us identify the elements of value. And we've done it really to help our clients more systematically think about how to deliver value to customers. I think we all know it is hard when you start with a blank sheet of paper to, figure out how to deliver more value. And by way of background, as we did this, we searched for a framework to help us understand the elements of value, to create a way to think about them. And we looked in economics and philosophy. We surprisingly didn't find much there. It was more in psychology and sociology that we began to find frameworks that could help us think about elements of value. One of them I won't talk about much. It's called usage and gratification theory. It came out of media studies and sociology, starting really with radio, and the debate was whether radio was going to kill newspapers, and then whether television was going to kill radio, and then whether the internet was going to kill them all, et cetera, et cetera. And a very interesting set of thoughts and theories, but and if you're interested, you can look into it. But it remained only in media studies. No one ever asked the question, as far as I know, could we apply this more generally to consumer behavior? Where we ended up was with Maslow's hierarchy of needs as an organizing framework. And I can't ask for a show of hands on this call, but I've asked many business executives in many venues whether they're familiar with Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I would say 85 to 90% pretty consistently raise their hands. It's often taught in business school and so forth. But when I ask if they have actually put the hierarchy of needs to real practical use, the hands tend to go down. And I think the issue is that most executives, and certainly most marketing executives, are aware of the hierarchy. But it's really a theory that is pretty far removed from thinking about consumer behavior. It's really more about human motivation and fulfillment at a more general level. A couple thoughts on this. For those of you who don't know the hierarchy of needs, it starts with physiological needs at the bottom, works up to through self-actualization to self-transcendence, having to do with achieving one's full potential and having social consciousness and so forth. A couple of comments on this. Usually everyone thinks that self-actualization is the top of the pyramid. But in fact, Maslow added 20 years after his original theory, self-transcendence as being kind of the pinnacle of the highest level of motivation. He didn't express the pyramid he didn't express the hierarchy of needs in a pyramid himself. That was done by people later on, and it's interesting that it's almost always shown in this kind of rigid format. But he actually was very nuanced in the way he thought about the hierarchy of needs. Most people think, well, you have to really fulfill the physiological and safety needs before you can move up, as a person. And he didn't feel that was true. In fact, there are people who can have needs for belongingness and love met while they're still very poor or needy. So it's Maslow himself was actually quite nuanced in his thinking about this. These are the 30 elements of value that we've developed. These have been developed from all the studies that I mentioned earlier, and we've modified Maslow's hierarchy to create a new heuristic model of value. If you look at, we tried to get below the surface of what people say. So if you think about, oftentimes if you ask someone about their bank or another service provider, they might say, well, something like it's convenient. But actually, if you spend more time with them and really dissect what convenience is, it's usually some combination of saves time, simplifies, reduces effort, and so forth. So we tried to get below what consumers typically say right away to a question. We use various techniques to do that. But if you look at the pyramid, we have arranged it along two dimensions. First of all, at the bottom of the pyramid are functional elements. And by the way, this is not a precise science or art to place them in a hierarchy, but we did our best. Above that, emotional elements, life-changing elements, and then social impact elements. So we've actually borrowed a couple things directly from Maslow's hierarchy. So functional elements, obviously they're ones that we all know: saving time, simplifying things, reducing effort, avoiding hassles. Emotional elements like reducing anxiety, wellness, rewards me. Life-changing elements, I won't go through all of these. But in a minute, I'll talk about specific companies that are delivering on these elements. But the other dimension here is that some of these are more inwardly focused. It's really about how saving time is really a personal thing. It's internal. It's simplification is often internal. Reducing anxiety is clearly an internal element of value. On the right side, we see things that are often more outwardly focused. So connection, as in social networks, for example, is all about the connecting with other people outside of yourself. Integration has to do with the way one manages oneself in the complexity of the world. Same with organization and so forth. Affiliation and belonging is all about other people. So that's been another dimension we've thought about. I won't spend a lot of time on each of these elements, but we've really tried to identify basic fundamental forms of value. There's some of these, so for example, entertainment or sensory appeal, that can have many forms. So there are many forms of entertainment. There's an infinite variety of types of sensory appeal, some of which appeals to almost everyone, like sweetness, and some that only will appeal to segments of people. But we've tried to be as comprehensive as we can. The important point I want to make before I turn to the next slide is that most companies are actually, through their products and services, they're delivering on multiple elements of value, not just one. It's usually a number of them. If you're not delivering on a single element value, you're probably not in business. And I'll show you some growth data in a few pages. But keep that in mind as we move to the next page. What we've done on this page is illustrate the kinds of companies that are delivering on various elements. And I'll just go through a few of these, but again, reminding you that these companies are almost all delivering on many elements or several elements of value. But the ones that we've illustrated here are just illustrating how a company can deliver on an element. So for example, E-ZPass, this is at least the name in the Northeast of the transponders that you have in your car that get you onto toll roads and across bridges. That's all about saving time and probably also avoiding hassles. But the time saving, especially in a city like New York, is just incredible. And I actually had a colleague once who said, I think the E-ZPass is the single best value proposition I've experienced in my life, which is probably an overstatement, but nevertheless. Google, I think, is a good example of a company that has, through its products and service, delivered on simplification. When Google first came out, I'm not sure how many of you remember that well, but it was far simpler and cleaner, and it just had a very simple experience along with it, and that's obviously a core element of theirs. If you move across to integration, Microsoft Outlook is an example of that. Obviously, many Apple products are examples of that. If we move directly above integration, this is on the right side in the third row from the bottom. Provides access. This is one of my favorite examples. Ancestry.com just provided access to genealogical information in a way that was just fundamentally transformational of the hobby of genealogy. I don't know how many of you know this, but genealogy is one of the most common hobbies in America and many other countries. And before Ancestry, you really had to go, I mean, if you were from Ireland, you had to go to Ireland or hire someone in Ireland to find facts out about your family. You had to go to parish registers, to the national libraries, and all the official departments to find things. Ancestry brought all that together. It was actually originally brought together by the Church of the Latter-day Saints, but Ancestry was formed to provide that information to people. It's completely transformational through really one element of value called access. I'm sure they have other elements of value as well. Heirloom is really about delivering value to future generations. And the Swiss watch manufacturers have made a big deal about this. When you buy certain Swiss watches, you are buying something for multiple generations, which is actually true, in fact. And as we move up, just to give you some examples, self-actualization, one of my favorite examples is Leica. Leica is a camera brand that has a long and storied history of being used by some of the greatest photographers over the last 100 years. And that's well known among people who are knowledgeable about photographic history. Leica, they do make incredibly high quality scientific kind of instruments, if you will, of photography, but they also charge a premium price. They have cameras that sell for $6,000 to $7,000 and lenses that sell for thousands of dollars. Really, I think, and it's really when you ask people why they own a Leica, they will often say it's just the best camera, but they will also, if you ask them further, tell you that it's really about photography and photographic history and being a photographer. At the top of the pyramid, I'll show you data on Tom's in a minute, but Tom's is a good example of a company that is working at the top of the pyramid. They give back to needy people. Seventh Generation has designed and positioned their products to deliver on eco-friendly friendliness. They are likely also playing at the top of the pyramid. And if we go to the next page here, this is now data-driven from a survey that we have done relatively recently. This illustrates where a number of companies are playing. To my point earlier, companies that are doing well are playing on they are delivering on multiple elements of value. So, for example, I'll just take a couple of these. Tom's, you'll see, is playing on quality, variety at the base of the pyramid, but they're also playing in design and aesthetics in the middle and on self-transcendence at the top. The way we did this is there's a certain cutoff in terms of the scores that it is not entirely arbitrary, but in the end it's a judgment call as to where one decides that someone's playing there. But I think if you talk to any millennial, they will talk about Tom's social responsibility and giving back and so forth. Amazon is another interesting company on this chart. Amazon is delivering on 8 elements of value, almost all of which are functional. And I'll talk about this a bit later, but this is very typical of good digital companies, that they have really mastered delivering against the functional elements of value. USAA is also on this chart, and I'll just mention that they are one of the strongest financial service players from a customer advocacy standpoint in the country, and they are that shows up here as well. They are playing pretty high up on the pyramid, reducing anxiety, heirloom, rewards, access, and so forth. They are probably helped a little bit by the fact that they are serving military personnel and their families and relatives. They have a very strong mission, which I think contributes to this, but they also have a harmony between the culture of the people who work at USAA and their actual customers, which probably helps as well. Just wanted to spend a few minutes on the concept of adding new elements of value. And I won't go through all of these examples in the interest of time, but a good example is Vanguard. Vanguard recently added a personal advisor service to their core investment products and services. Vanguard has always really been about low fee asset allocating type of investment, not encouraging people to buy and sell, but to buy and hold and buy intelligently and so forth. And they realized that they needed to provide more advice to their customers, and they launched this. It's all around the element that we call Inform. American Express has introduced new programs to provide cardholders with access to exclusive venues and events. Another good example I like on this page is Red Bull, that has sponsored competitions and communities to connect sports enthusiasts from around the world. It's actually a core part of their value proposition. And I won't comment on the other ones here, but we have looked at now many companies. I think the count is over 60, and documented the addition of value elements. And in the article in HBR, which I think is available now today, you can see our discussion of what Amazon has done in this area. They are a juggernaut of adding value elements. If you think of Prime and all the things they've added to Prime as part of their overall value proposition, it's very impressive. To explore value patterns that are out there in the world, we started by surveying 8,000 current customers of 47 U.S. companies, and those companies are below, cutting across apparel, athletic wear, discount retailing, and so on. We have also since then done many more thousands of interviews, adding more companies, typically at the request of specific clients. But this is the original data set. A couple comments here. One is, so if you look at the row in the middle, smartphone providers, when we interviewed people about Apple or Samsung or LG, we asked them to talk about their smartphone from one of those companies. When we ask about automotive insurance, and we were talking about State Farm, USAA, and Liberty Mutual, et cetera, we asked them to talk about the value in their insurance from those companies. There's no doubt some mixture of brand and product here, but ultimately we probably can't separate that out of everyone's minds. But the one thing I will say is there's a huge range across these companies in terms of value delivered. So far, we really looked at it by industry, but there's, the leaders other than USAA are typically the smartphone providers, and I think we all know the reason for that is that those phones have become our lives. They contain Apple, for example, is scoring on 11 elements of value very well. Those phones contain our money, our entertainment, our music, our contacts. They really have become essential tools in our lives. They are delivering many types of value to us. So this was a relatively brief survey. We took people through one company only, and we had them rate the service they get or product they get from that company on the 30 elements of value. We have a set of attributes that we have developed to represent those elements. First thing we looked at was, is there a relationship between economic growth and Net Promoter Score? So on the left you have a chart that's about Net Promoter Score, which is a measure of customer advocacy that is used by thousands of companies across the world. And on the right we have growth. And the first thing we looked at is, as you add elements of value at a certain level of achievement, what happens to NPS and growth? And you'll see the pattern here is obvious, that if you're delivering on one element of value on average, your NPS is 17, whereas if you're delivering on 4 or more, the NPS is 58, which is a dramatically high NPS, top-down NPS score. And as we look at growth, you see that companies that did not achieve a single element of value, and there are some, are negative, and those who are 4+ are up towards 13%, which, if you compound that, et cetera, year to year, is a pretty impressive number. So there's clearly an important relationship with growth here. We then began to look at.
Okay, so I would like to pause the webinar here and leave you with the truth from the research that the more values elements that your business could offer that impacts directly to the number of revenue or transaction or actually the money gained through the business that you're running. Okay, so from the webinar that we have just enjoyed from Harvard Business Review webinar on the 30 elements of value, I hope it have given you the examples, the in-depth insight about the values blocks that you can actually offer to the customers to attract them and get them to come back to your business repeatedly and to be able to launch and sustain the business. Now I would like to move to some of the sample of the customer segment. This is the sample of what is called the segment or customer persona or personality of the targeted that you would like to approach. So if we recall from the vegan restaurant case, if you could remember, it targets the people in that business area that the founder is working in called Pasila. And they're like from the teenage to the middle-aged people who are interested in having the vegan food or are the vegan already. And so it would be like the business and the young generation people, right? So that would be the type of the persona that we're talking about. So I would like you to connect back and visualize who are the customers of your lifestyle business. How old is the person? What is the job, education, personality, motivations, or their bio, for example. So please be, use your imagination, I would say, because for now it's about the plan, about the lean canvas. And then we're gonna launch this and prototype and try and test it. And maybe it's correct, and maybe you could adjust that. That's what the lean canvas is here for us. The lean canvas is something not the fixed plan, but it's something to give us the springboard to start and then to come back and adjust and reiterate again and again. So my proposal to you today, despite the fact that we are not here in class together, is for you to revisit the lean canvas from the part that you already started last week, to continue thinking of the unique value proposition using the 30 value of elements as the springboard for you to think of the values that you would like to offer to your customer, and to clarify the customer segments and unfair advantage as of today. And since I'm not gonna be meeting you next week, so my assignment for you is to complete the whole lean canvas next week. Okay, on the 11th, to complete the lean canvas and record your presentation in the video format. Okay, complete the lean canvas next week in the Sprint Lab 3 for the rest of the boxes, and to submit your Lean Canvas and video presentation online at this link within Friday next week. Okay, that would be the assignment for you this week and next week. And I will also send you the link to the webinar in case you would like to revisit and to check out the whole video, which lasts about 59 minutes, like 1 hour altogether. Okay. Also, I equipped with you here additional Lean Canvas of Facebook, where you can use as the guideline for you to complete your Lean Canvas. This is the Lean Canvas of Facebook, where it started as the online network, right? For the students of Howard University to connect, okay? And the difference from the previous generation of the platform like High5 is that it allows the people to share different things and also chat at the same time. For example, the customer segments are the college, university students, and it targets at the Howard, its own group of people, right? The first group of customer that you want to approach and attract. So they have this unfair advantage, like I said, since Mark Zuckerberg is the student at Howard University, so he has friends, okay? He has person-to-person interaction. He has friends to help his own push network, all right? And also the technical part. And the way they get the customer is by referral. That means people talk to each other, going into the society, ask friends to subscribe and use, for example. And the unique value proposition that we talk about here, the communication platform between friends in Howard University, and then it expanded into the other colleges. It has become a very successful unicorn startup in itself already. Okay, here it talks about the revenue streams. How do you get the money? Okay, so the money of the Facebook comes from the investments and also from the advertising revenue itself. And the cost is the hosting, right? The server for the platform and the development of all the services and the payroll for the employees. Okay, so this is the example of the final Lean Business Canvas that I would like you to complete for your business, plus present it in the video format and submit it to me next week. Okay, so you have to give me one Lean Canvas of your business plus the video presentation. Okay, here's one more example from YouTube. Okay, the Lean Canvas of YouTube. The problem is there's no hosting for the video of the people. So they look at the people around who are not professional, like amateur advertiser, and they look for the teenagers who can come use the platform as the early adopter, filmmaker, video, and college students. And the value proposition here is the people's TV channel, right? It means people can have their own TV channel. They can watch, they can choose their own video. At the same time, they can share their own video and create their own TV channel. All right, so these are some of the unique value proposition, but you can look at all the 30 blocks and listed them here, okay? And to complete all the blocks here. The revenue comes from the advertising, investment, and the cost come from the hosting and development of the platform and the payroll as well. And the last one you saw in the third values proposition already, the Amazon website itself. And it started with the book, online selling book platform, and it kept expanding to offer more and more unique value proposition and become a very successful So it shares the commission, I would say, from the sales on the platform itself and make money out of that. And that would be the last example of the Lean Canvas that I share with you here. So with all of this information, please go ahead to complete the Lean Canvas for your business. Capture that and also present in the video form and send it next week, Friday. And in the meantime, happy Chinese Lunar New Year. And if you have any further questions, feel free just to send the WeChat. It doesn't bring me, I normally on the silent mode, but I will check it every other day just to make sure that I see your questions and could help support you with the assignment. So for now, thank you for joining the recorded lecture, and I'll see you on the 18th of February. Have a great week ahead. Goodbye.